upon a time on the internet, three girls they never met, but somehow they became friends. We're in three different countries in three different time zones, so really it must have been fate. Girl stuff is how we like to communicate our thoughts and feelings, stories that can make you relate. And we talk to some cool people we met on the way. So thanks for tuning in. We hope that you like your stay.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella.
Hi everyone, my name is Jade.
And thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Girl Stuff Podcast. Today we are really excited to have the wonderful Jade Patteri here with us. She is an award-winning actress, singer-songwriter, dancer, overall super talented performer, and we're really excited to have her here for her to share her story of how, she got started performing, how she, entered the entertainment industry and just all of her experience with that, hear about all of the exciting music that she has been working on and is planning on releasing. That in particular, I'm really excited to talk about, and just learn all about you and your background. So just to start off, I was really excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is musical theater. I know that
Awesome.
you are you are a theater kid, and that's where a lot of your background and experience is from. So can you tell me about how you got started in musical theater, and like what was your first show? Like how did you get from like, oh, I want to try this out to I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Absolutely. Okay, well, my parents were both pretty much in theater to start. My mom was well, still is, but my mom is a professional ballerina and my dad was a Broadway actor. So ever since I was little, I was backstage at my dad's shows or I was taking dance classes for my mom. So I want to say I didn't really have a choice whether or not I went into it or not. But it was really awesome. I remember the first show I actually did was, I believe it was Carousel with my dad at the Reprise Theater. And my dad was playing Billy Bigelow and they needed another snow kid. And so they're like, oh, Rob, you got a daughter, right? And I think I was like, I think it was around 7, I believe. And he goes, yeah. So I auditioned for it and then I got it. So it was really fun being in a show with my dad, especially like getting to watch him not only off of stage, but then be in an actual production, like a professional production with my dad. So it was really amazing. From then I went on to do another professional theater show after that called Brigadoon. And then shortly after I booked the world premiere of Jane Eyre, the musical, where I played young Jane and young Adele. And so that was really cool because I'll forever get to say I did a world premiere or something. It was fun at age 9 too, like getting like older kids coming up to me after like a show and going, can I have your autograph? And I was
Oh.
like, yeah, Dad wants an autograph. And he's like, no, it's your signature. And I was like, yeah, sure. Oh, of course you can have my autograph. So it was super fun to have that whole experience, especially at a young age too, because in my opinion, I think theater is the most beautiful experience you could ever have. And there's just something about live performing that will never be like anything else, So getting to experience that and really love it at a very young age was a great way for me to really get started into it, because after that, I've done musicals to Shakespeare to so that's how I got involved in theater, and that was my first show. And then Jane Eyre was the first show that really got me like started into the theater world. So
Was there a specific point that you were like, okay, like this, like I want to get like super serious about it now. Like
absolutely.
this is the point where I want to like
Um,
become professional with it.
so I did theater for a while, and then I got involved with the film industry. So I started auditioning for film and TV, but I was never really as invested in that at that age, I would say, as I was in theater. I really picked up film and TV again, God, I want to say like maybe 2 years ago, because I auditioned for film and TV and did all that thing, booked a few commercials and all of that, but that only lasted, God, I want to say like 5 years, until I went to high school, where I booked the lead so I transferred over to a high school because of their theater arts program. And I was testing it out, and it was my first year there. And I was in the ensemble in one of their productions, and I didn't really know the director too well. And I was just like a little 7th grader with all these seniors. And then the year after, in 8th grade, they were auditioning for Thoroughly Modern Millie. I don't know if you know that
Oh
show. Oh,
yeah, of
Sutton
course,
Foster.
of
Yes,
course.
of course.
Yeah.
So they had auditions for Thoroughly Modern Millie. And I have a very like belty, bigger range.
Mhm.
So Millie's role was like perfect for me. But I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm in 8th grade. I'm probably not going to get it. So I auditioned for the musical. And all I remember is the director going, wait, where were you last year? I was like, I was in Hairspray. And he goes, that's right. Because he actually almost cast me, but he didn't want me kissing a senior because I was in
Mm.
7th grade at the time.
Mhm, mhm.
And it ended up him casting me as Thoroughly Modern Millie in 8th grade in the high school production where I had to play opposite of a senior again. So the inevitable eventually
Mhm.
happened, but I want to say that was probably the thing that really got me like kick started into it, because it was my first like lead role, and in a show period, especially like a school that I had just gone to in the year after. In 8th grade, I booked the High School Musical. A lot of the seniors didn't like me, but the experience was great, only because it's not fun when an 8th grader takes your part you've been waiting for all of
Mhm.
senior year. So other than that, it was a very fun experience. I had an amazing time, and yeah, after that I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I
Mhm.
don't ever want to not be doing this. So I would
Mhm.
probably
I
have
know.
to say that show in particularly.
That's awesome. Are there any other like musicals or shows that like had a particularly big impact on you, whether it's ones that you've been in or just ones that you like really love and take inspiration from?
Totally. Well, in okay, so in my senior year, it's funny because well, you probably know about the, I don't know, National Youth Arts
Yeah.
Awards
Oh
or
yeah.
Jimmy
Mhm.
Awards and
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
John Rade Awards. Great. So, it was, I would say, the show that really I think touched me the most was probably, I played Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker. And I was up for an award for a few things that year with all the award shows, but and
Mhm.
I won an NYA, but I my dream was always like a Jimmy Award or a John Rade Award or one of
Mhm.
those. And so up until my senior year, like that was a show that was really like, it touched me and it moved me, and it was like, oh, it gave me that motivation to keep going and keep auditioning for the shows until like I really did get a scholarship or something, since that's what we were kind of going for at the time.
Mhm.
So my senior year, I played Marion in oh my god, The Music Man. And
Mhm.
I remember sitting at the John Rade Awards, and I was listening to who was going to win the Best Leading Actress and Best Leading Actor. And then all of a sudden they call up the BAA Artist of the Year award, and I remember my name being called, and they're like, Jade Patteri, and I was all, oh shoot, that's me. And I just
That's
ran up.
my
I had no
name.
idea. I had no idea what I won though. Like, I had absolutely no clue. Like, my whole school, like, you just have this huge crowd of people, like this ginormous theater of people like clapping. I have no idea what the heck I won. So I like go up the stairs, and someone hugs me and my name's up on the screen. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I sit down, I was like, great, what's this word specifically? And they said, no, you're one of the 3 that they're sending to New York. And I was all, wait, I'm going to New York? So my time had already passed of my excitement, right? They
Mhm.
were already on to the other people, the other winners, right? And I'm just sitting there like, wait, I'm going to New York to the showcase. That's amazing. So the great experience, or the great part about that, is that when I was there, I got to go to New York with these amazing actresses, Claire and Devin, that also won that year. And so we all went to New York, and we got to work with Broadway professionals, choreographers, the whole shebang. And I had got to work with one of the dancers from The Prom, the musical on Broadway. And I had learned the entire number, and I was one of their lead dancers that they put in the showcase for that prom number, later to
Mhm.
come back a month later and book the actual live action, like the movie musical of The Prom, with the same choreography I had learned off Broadway from that dancer who was in the show with my
Wow.
boss Casey Nicholaw. So it was insane. It was so
That's
funny. I was like,
wow,
wow,
that's
what a
really
coincidence.
full circle too. Wow,
It was
that's
really cool. It was
amazing.
a fun story
I
for
love
sure.
that so much. Well, I mean, you brought up the prom, so I feel like that's kind of a perfect segue into it. I mean, like, I would just love to know all about like what your experience with that was like. And I mean, I know that you also like you said that you were predominantly like doing like stage theater, and
Yeah.
then you like dipped into film and TV, and so just what was the whole like the whole experience like?
Okay, so my senior year after I graduated, since I took a break from the film and TV industry just to really just enjoy art, and get to do high school
Mhm.
theater and professional productions and just really enjoy that because especially with film and TV too, when you get pulled into a series or a show or something like that, it's nonstop. So it was nice to have a high school experience and then also got to experience the show aspect. So as soon as I graduated, I was going back and forth between so I applied to conservatories in Scotland, London, and Ireland, and I wasn't applying to any other colleges. So I was either going back and forth between going to an acting conservatory for 3 to 4 years, or I was going to stay here and really start auditioning in the industry. So it's crazy because I decided to stay and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stay. If I was just an actress, maybe I'd go, but because I do music and dance as well over here, let's just stay here and see how it goes and really get started into all of that again. And like maybe 1 to 2, 3 months later, I can't even remember, I ended up getting an audition for the prom. And I was actually also on a veil for another film at the time, and it was for one of the leads. And I found out after the prom audition had happened that I didn't get that movie. And I was like, oh, well, I guess the prom is all I had. And I really didn't know much about it other than I loved the hip hop choreography that I learned in New York. Right. So as soon as I got the audition, I was like, all right, well, we'll see how it goes. I was already kind of like a little bummed off of the fact that I was waiting for like weeks for this other film. And I was like, oh, dang it, but it's fine. We're good. And then I enter the room in the audition and I see like Casey Nicola and all of his choreographers. I see Alexa Fogel casting there. I see Ryan Murphy's secondhand guy with the camera ready to send all of these tapes over. And the audition part was probably the craziest because there were like, I want to say a week or two of dance auditions just to find these dancers. And the room that you go into, like the auditions were at Paramount.
Mhm.
So we walked into Paramount and the audition process was literally, I had about like 60 to 70 people in my room auditioning in my group. I was like group 1 out of 4 for the entire day, right? So I get in there and there's just all of these people. And then you got Casey right there. I mean, the dude has choreographed everything. Like I
Yeah.
know him. I love his choreography. I was like, wait, I understand now. So then I started to get more excited. And then I
Mhm.
found out who was a part of the film. And I really don't get starstruck very easily. But when you're working with Meryl Streep or Nicole Kidman, it's just another type of like, oh my God, she touched my shoulder. I'm never watching this again type of feeling. So to get into that, after I booked the audition, I was freaking out. I was so grateful, and I believe that all things happen for a reason. So I was like, you know what? I think this turned out for the better. I'm so glad that I booked prom instead of the other project that I was going to be a part of, possibly. So as soon as I started the audition process, it was amazing. One, all Ryan Murphy, a sweetheart. Casey Nicola, I worked with the most because I was in rehearsals with him every day. He was so fun. Oh, so this is actually a really funny story. We get in there, right? All the dancers, like the high school dancers, there were about 20 of us that were the principal dancers throughout the whole movie with the same like high schoolers. And so we get in the audition room and Casey has this look on his face, right? And he's like, first off, I want to say congratulations to all of you. And we're all so excited, right? It had been like, we had to wait all of Christmas break to start rehearsals. So we were
Mhm.
all just like anticipating starting. I had gotten to talk to everyone and everyone was super sweet so far. So we stand there and then Casey looks at us and goes, I'm really glad you all are here. I do have to say one thing. Ryan and I just got done talking and we realized that we accidentally miscasted a few of you, or we miscast a few of you, and we're going to need to cut half of you from this. So this will actually be your last audition. And I
Oh
was
my
standing
God.
there like, you're lying. You're lying. This has got to be a joke. Like, where's the money? Where's the cameras? Where's
Yeah.
and be like, congratulations, you've won for the best impractical joke. And so he looks at all of us and everyone's just quiet. We're like, and he goes,
How do I
guys,
react?
I'm just kidding. I'm super excited to start recording. And
Oh
all
my
of us were like,
God.
oh, okay, good. This is fun, right? So it was amazing. He was a blast to work with. Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman were amazing. James Corden was a sweetheart. Keegan Michael Key. Yeah, they were all so amazing. Ariana, Joe Ellen. It was just a cast. It was a dream cast. You don't really, I mean, you hear so many horror stories in Hollywood of people who work with these, toxic actors and people who are just rude. This was the most loving, genuine cast I've ever worked with, and everyone genuinely wanted the story to really come across of just love and unity and acceptance, you know. And that was, I think, the thing that really made the movie just so beautiful, because everyone genuinely wanted that. It really wasn't acting to a certain extent. So it was an amazing project to be a part of, and I will forever be grateful for it.
That's really amazing to hear. I love that. And I know that so many people love the movie and it really resonated with a lot of different audiences. So
Definitely.
um, that's really great to hear. Well, just to move on to something that we kind of like to ask a lot of our different guests is specifically we like to highlight like what it's like being a female in the professional industry because we're called Girl Stuff Podcast. We like to
Yeah.
we like to empower women and we like to share stories that do so. And theater in particular, as many of us know, is can be oversaturated with a lot of young females. And so I wanted to know like what your approach has been to that challenge of like, oh, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of girls who are, going after the same part or trying to do what I'm doing. And so like, how do you keep yourself from being worn down too much by that? And like, what like motivates you to like push through that?
You know what? It's an industry of, it's a job where you're told no every single day until you get a yes, right? So it's something that if you are
Hmm.
not, and I think because I took a break in the industry for a little while, and not only because I really just wanted to have a high school life and enjoy theater, but I don't think I was emotionally ready to really go into the hard part of it, which was like auditioning and auditioning and auditioning and auditioning part, rather than the high school audition. You audition once and then you're in that show with all your friends and stuff like that. Because I've struggled in the past with I'm a people pleaser, right? So I love making people happy, and even if it's not my fault and someone's upset, I'm like, oh, how can I fix it, right? So being told no, or what you did we don't want, or just any of that, like, really got to me. And my parents thankfully kind of kept me grounded in saying, you know what, Jade, we love you and we believe that you're going to get there, but I think we really need to work on you being okay with hearing that and loving yourself at the end of the day, because that's the most important thing. As much as we can all sit here and love the art of acting and singing and dancing, your human life is so much more important than anything that you're going to do or book, right?
For
So you want to
sure.
make sure your emotional health is there first, because as soon as
Yeah.
you get into it, you could lose yourself real fast, especially in this industry.
Hmm.
So I want to say the thing that's kept me going is just really knowing my worth, because you get told no, right? And you get told, well, and sometimes you don't even get told why. So your brain, especially if you're an overthinker, goes over all the reasons why they
Hmm.
couldn't have picked you, or they didn't pick you, or maybe I'm going to dye my hair blonde, or maybe I get contacts that are brown eyes instead of blue eyes, or maybe I was too short, maybe I was too tall, maybe they just didn't like my acting. Am I a good actor? I went to this many classes. Like, you can just start thinking so much to where you put yourself in this little bubble that you're never going to get out of. You're never going to get out of your head, because you're your worst enemy at that point. Everyone could have been like, oh, she just wasn't right for it, but we loved her, right? And you could have gone, I suck. I suck. I'm never doing this again. I'm going to quit, you know? So that's why making sure you don't get to that level, and making sure you know who your worth, that you're important, that you, like, if you keep going to, oh my gosh, a lot of people give up immediately when they hear a no, or when they hear two no's or three no's. Mark Ruffalo auditioned 500 times before he booked the Hulk. 500 auditions, 500 no's in order to get that one yes that completely changed his entire career. So my advice to everyone who would be thinking stuff like that is, we all go through the same thing. I can't say that I'm perfect. Of course I think those things. Of course I go in auditions going, oh, they hated me. Oh, they loved me. Oh, but I did good. Why didn't they like that? But at the end of the day, don't try to think and get into someone's mind when you can't. And when you're going to overthink it and you know you're going to put yourself in a little stress bubble, it's just not worth it. You might as well love what you're doing, commit to what you're doing, commit to maybe possibly hearing a no, but at the end of the day, knowing what you're worth, knowing who you are, and emotionally being stable at the end of the day is the most important. So,
For sure. That's really amazing advice. And oh,
oh,
sorry.
you're good. You're
We're
good.
just
The morning, a great concept.
yeah. And I personally like really commend you for saying that, you took a break from the industry for a little bit because you did want, high
Yeah.
school experience, you wanted to take time to like, have like find and like have the experiences that you wanted before you like dove super head first into what you knew would be challenging. And I feel like that's honestly advice that we could all hear a little bit more often about just it's okay to give yourself time.
Oh,
We
yeah.
all think that we're in this race that we're could like
No.
trying to get there before everyone else, but
Oh,
it's not that
yeah,
case at
and trust me,
all.
when you're hearing 5-year-olds now who have auditions, like, or sorry, who have, like, resumes longer than Santa's, like, Christmas list, you're like, "Oh, great, this is really good. I'm too old for this," or I'm not there yet," right? Listen, I have a really long theater resume, and yet my acting resume for, like, film and TV isn't that huge, right? But that's not stopping me from auditioning because I believe that if I'm right for something, and I'm a Christian as well. So you know what? If it's God's plan for me, then awesome. And if not, I'm gonna trust in the process and believe that something will happen eventually that I might not have known was the best thing for me, but is now. So
For sure. I love that so much. Well, I would love to start diving into talking about music with you. You are a singer-songwriter, and you've definitely kept yourself busy in the past year, even during COVID.
yes.
You released an EP last year, and you have even more music coming out very soon. How and when did you start writing your own music?
So funny story with my EP. I started writing, so that first single on the EP I wrote when I was 13 and I released it when I was 14. So my single Invisible was the first one I had ever released. And I actually only put it up on SoundCloud in the beginning because it was my like, I had been writing for the longest time, but it was my first like actual real song. I went, oh, I want to get out there. So I put it on SoundCloud, and within like maybe 1 to 2 months, it was reaching 10,000 streams, 20,000 streams, 30,000 streams, 40,000 streams. Then it got up to 100,000 streams and 150,000 streams. And I was like, people are listening to my music. I don't know what to do. Like, I was just like, I didn't expect that. I thought I was going to put it up on SoundCloud. My grandparents, maybe my hamster was going to hear it. Great, cool. They love my music, love the support. But no, like people were actually listening. And I've always loved just like lyrics. I'm such a lyricist. Like when I listen to music, I'm all about the creativity, just the unique aspect of writing, that's not like everyone else. So when I put out music and I heard from people like, wow, I really love this, I went, great, I'm going to do more of it. So then I just started writing even more songs. I came out with the song Drift, then Imperfectly Perfect. And then I actually won 3 awards for my singles at the NYA Awards. And they awarded me the best song of the year, like 3 years in a row. And I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. So then when I came out with my last single in that EP, Unity, in, I want to say 2018 originally, I decided to take it all down and re-release it as an EP with the title Unity for all of these tracks, since all of them dealt with a certain cultural position that I wanted to change or influence, right? So it's funny because that EP has actually been taken down and re-released in 2021 due to a few reasons that were just very hectic. But along the lines with releasing it again with the music video that will be coming out for me next week, which is pretty much a little short film music video on the concept of unity and how we all need to come together with love and appreciation. And no matter what you believe, look like, love, represent, that we all have the same blood. So that's where music has been for me. And yeah, we have a lot of music coming up that we're working on right now, but the Unity EP is still being promoted, and we'll be having a music video next week that comes out. So yeah.
Yay, I'm so excited to see that. I feel like I would love to get sort of into the nitty-gritty of like what your process is like start to finish from like writing a song to like, eventually releasing it. Because I feel like so many people, they have no idea how a song, ends up on Spotify or like like just how much behind the scenes
Totally.
goes into it.
Yeah.
Like I think the funniest thing is when I like am on social media or like maybe I see like a TikTok of like someone wrote like a little song and they're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like put it on Spotify and like, or like, can you release this? I'm like, do people like actually understand just how much work goes into?
Oh yeah, let me give a call up to my homegirl Spotify and have her release it real quick.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly. So
sure that's
like
how. Yeah.
exactly. Like do you I would love to know like do you have like any specific people you collaborate with or like how much involvement you have like in the production of the actual
Mm.
tracks? Like where how do you like so you like sat down, you wrote like a song, like where does it go from there?
So my writing process starts with pretty much either an idea or no idea at all. So I write all my songs on the piano. So actually the majority of them have started with me not even like singing at all. Like I'll literally just be playing something, and in that moment what I'm feeling, I'll just start saying things, and not in a weird way, but I start saying that, yeah, I'm talking to myself in my house all by myself. No, but I start on the piano and I just really start, speaking things that I really think are important and trying to put into a melody. And for me, math was never my strong suit. Had 7 tutors and we're still not good at it. But as far as writing, I was always that kid who could write. I wrote all my friends' essays. I wrote my essays. I did extra credit on my essays. I just love to write. So it was always in my wheelhouse. So as soon as I was like, oh, singing and writing, this is a combination I enjoy a lot. So as soon as I really started to do it, I was like, oh, this is really, really great. As far as the production aspect, I have it all in a way kind of I hear it in my head. And God bless my producer, because he just tries to pick my brain all the time. Like, what do you want? Like, no, I want like a na 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 with like a dun 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 dun. He's all, yeah, definitely. And then he just does all the buttons and stuff that I don't have the patience for, but I definitely hear it. I have a very big part in the production aspect of the song. But then there's also cases where I'll get sent tracks from other producers or friends who are like, hey, I have a track. Would you want to write to this and sing to it? And I'm all, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So I also do stuff like that. But when it comes to my own music that I'm writing, I write all my own stuff and I come up with the melodies and how I want it to be sung. And then I hand it over to my producer and we work on it together. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. I love to hear it. Well, I know that obviously your background is in musical theater and you yourself are a songwriter. Have you ever thought about maybe one day in the future, like writing an actual musical?
Absolutely. It has been my dream. So I actually wanted to, well, right now we're putting a lot of focus into music and auditioning again and getting that whole ball rolling a little bit. But eventually I would love to write a one-woman show on the educational system. I am very passionate about it, and I have a huge problem with a lot of the ways that we're teaching kids in schooling, because everyone thinks
Yes.
differently. You don't put a mathematician and an artist in the same room and tell them to paint the Mona Lisa without expecting a different result. And oftentimes we give kids these multiple choice answers and we tell them fill in all the bubbles. When one kid's like, great, I can bubble these in. The other one's like, can I explain it to you though, where I understand it? The other kid's like, what? So everyone learns
Yes,
differently. Some people are more
absolutely. Go
visual.
off.
Yeah. Right. It's such a thing that we all tell everyone to learn the same. We teach everyone the same way, yet we know that people learn differently. So I've
Mhm.
always wanted to write a one-woman show called GPA, based off of a girl who's trying to graduate from high school and audition for conservatories, but is having a hard time like passing these classes that she will never have to do anything with in her entire life. Like
Mhm.
we need algebra 2 when you're not going to go into it, yet we don't learn how to file our taxes, yet we don't learn how to have conversations. We learn all this information, yet we have
Yes.
no idea how to communicate with people, how to share our opinions, our ideas, our convictions, right? So it's a very big concept for me, and I started writing a few songs to it about the whole concept of it, and right now we're trying to craft it, but it's definitely something I really want to push in the future and hopefully star in myself. So
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's amazing. I'm getting so excited, like hearing you talk
Oh,
about it. I mean,
thank
because it's
you.
also something that I'm also super passionate about.
Oh,
Like,
that's awesome.
I myself, I was a very creative person,
Yeah.
but wow, morning
Oh,
throat is
great
just
thing. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there.
but like I've always like was a very creative person, but then was
Yeah.
always like pushed to, excel academically, but like also I had like undiagnosed ADHD. And so
Yeah.
like learning in school and like that whole like everything that you talked about in terms of like, our education system and how like in particular we just we fail a lot of our students
Yeah,
in catering to their very valid
absolutely.
needs is really awesome to hear, and I will be there front row one day
Well, you
when
know what?
you get
Girl, you got a
that.
VIP ticket. That's awesome though. It's
Absolutely.
nice to hear other people really invested in that, because it is such a problem that nobody addresses too often, but it's a big thing.
Mhm.
It's a really big thing. So
For sure. Yeah. I mean, is that also sort of without like your personal experience, like going through school as well? I know you said you went to an art school, but
totally.
like, was it still very much like,
So I went to it wasn't like specifically an art school, but I went there for their musical theater program and for their arts
Mhm.
program. Like my day at school would consist of theater, advanced theater, dance company. I would have art class. Like I would have all of these different classes that I would take on top of doing the musicals and the shows. Like we had a very, very great program. And then I eventually got a scholarship to go there for theater since I almost transferred to another school. But they were like, no, we really want to keep you here after I did Millie. And so after that village, the school that I went to really became a family for me. But I will say that my experience academically was really difficult because I am terrible, like god awful at math. You would think like anyone who says they're bad at math has not seen me try to add like 4 plus 4. It's really bad, really, really bad. And for me, it's not that I wasn't trying. And I would get told all the time, like, you're not listening. And that's a very big trigger for me because I do listen very intently, right? But I would be told literally from teachers, you're not listening. Maybe you do well if you didn't listen. And I just got fed up. And I would
Yeah.
also be in counselor's office applying to conservatories, being told that I needed to apply to colleges in order to better my career. And there's the problem that I have with this is anybody that knows me is that if you're going to try to talk me out of something that I enjoy to do, you should probably stop with trying to, because it's not going to happen and you will not get your point across because I am very dead set on what I would like to do with my career. And I believe that anybody that
As you should, yes.
and so what the problem is that a lot of these counselors would have these kids come in and they would schedule their classes, go over what you're going to do, and then as soon as you said something they didn't like, they would go, "Well, let's call your parents in." Right? Let's call your parents in and try to talk some sense into them about something that you want to do with your life, not them, right? So I just had a really big problem with that. A really, really big problem with that.
Mhm.
And where all these counselors would kind of get the best of some of these students and these parents, my counselor hated me because I would not let her put AP things on my schedule. I looked at her and I said, she goes, "Great, Jade. So what do you want on your?" And I've written her into my little show, so she's got a spot there in my heart forever. She looked at me and she goes, "So Jade, we're just looking over your classes. I'm thinking AP Chem, AP Bio," and I went, "I'm sorry, did you not see me last year try to pass chemistry?" I said, "The only thing that got me through chemistry was maybe the grace of God and the grace of my teacher. Because other than that, the girl would have failed." And she looks at
Mhm.
me and she goes, "Well, but you got a decent grade." And I went, "I'm not trying to get a panic attack and end up in the hospital with all the work that I have to do." I said, and I told her, I said, "Well, I'm not applying to colleges, and the conservatories that I'm applying to in Scotland, London, and Ireland pretty much rip up your ACTs and SATs before you audition because they don't care." And she goes,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, it's really hard to get into those schools." And I looked at her and I went, "You know what it is? It's very, very difficult." She goes, "Yeah, which is why, I think applying to colleges is a great idea." And I went, "You're right. It's a really great idea for someone who wants to go to college. Unfortunately, it's not my thing, so I will be applying only to conservatories." And she said, "Well,
Yes, ma'am.
Jade, let's get your parents in here, maybe have a conversation with them." I said, "You know what? I would absolutely love that. I mean, I wouldn't want to waste your time because I think you really would be if you brought my parents in here because my parents actually stand up for what I want to do with my life. So if you would like to talk to them, go ahead, shoot them over an email, but I think you will be very much wasting your time." And she did. And my parents' response was, "Whatever Jade wants to do, we stand up with her with all of the decisions, and we're very excited and for the
Yes.
fruition of her career in the future. So whatever she's going to go with her classes, just listen to her and she'll tell you." And she had a problem with that. And it was a thing
Yes.
that actually my school ended up changing after I had complained enough about how kids who were going into the arts. One of my friends ended up in the hospital, like no joke, with a like anxiety attack, literally shaking because of all the APs that her parents had been convinced to make her do by these counselors that just had no idea what to do with these art students who maybe didn't even want to go to college or just pursue the arts, right? So I think I
Yeah.
had complained enough and a few other people that my school started implementing a system for arts kids where these counselors would be designated only specifically to arts and athletes to try to get them into the specific places that they would want to go. Or if you don't want to go to school, try to help them with how do you stay financially stable in Los Angeles, New York, wherever you're trying to go. What are some things we can try to surround yourself with? That way you are succeeding and that way you're always staying proactive. So now it's amazing, but I went through the problem in my school where that wasn't implemented yet. So I went through the pressure of this, pressure of that, even though I don't care. Give me as much pressure as you want. I'm still going to try to go into not try. I'm still going to be in the entertainment industry until someone
Mhm,
physically kicks me out. But until that
mhm.
happens, I'm going to stay here. And I'm not going to apply to college, which I didn't. So, and I'm very grateful I didn't because I'm loving what I'm doing here. I'm super happy and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So, for anyone that wants to do that, never feel pressured that you have to because of someone
Yes.
else's opinion of you, an opinion of your career, or to make their school look better, or their themselves look better, or them look more knowledgeable than you. Even if you're younger, there are a lot of people that only age and never grow up. So I don't see age or
Period.
yes.
Yes. I love everything that you're saying. I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. I resonate with that so much because I mean, when I was graduating high school, I wanted to pursue like entertainment or like do
Yeah.
something creative, but I felt so much pressure
So much
to do
pressure.
academic things. And so I ended up becoming pre-med and I was like a bio major for my first year of college. And
Wow.
then I was able to find like yeah, I switched to PR and stuff. But for so long, like I felt so burnt out
Yeah.
because I felt like the only thing that was really expected of me was to like excel academically, go to college, find a job, 9 to 5, and that's it. But like I've graduated college now. I regret going to
Congratulations.
college.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I am proud to have graduated,
Totally.
but like so much of that time in school of college was wasted on trying to like meet other people's expectations of what I was supposed to do
Yeah.
rather than actually pursuing the things that I was passionate about. And I mean, only after I graduated am I finally able to, give myself the freedom and the time
Yeah.
to figure out what it is specifically that I want to do with my life. Because I
Totally.
mean, I have absolutely no answer to that question, but at least I'm finally like, giving myself permission and giving
Good.
myself the freedom and ability
Good.
to like what do I want to do and like how can I get there? So I really, really commend you for putting up with what you put up and like standing up for yourself and trying to actually like bring about change in regards to like how we do such a big disservice to like young creative individuals,
I
you know?
I know we praise it, yet we demean it when someone tries to go into it. Like it's you,
Yeah.
and the problem is people expect you to be famous or successful or known before you actually are. So it's like, great. Well, you're not well known right now. Well, yeah, because I haven't tried yet. Can you let me try? Like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this to people, you know? Or why are we putting this little tiny box between here's where you have to be and I'm going, okay, so and I actually asked my counselor this one time. I said, "Can I ask you a question?" And she hated when I asked that. She was like, "Sure, Jade. What's your question?" I said, "So, if you get someone in here who's telling you that they want to apply to Yale or Harvard, really hard schools to get into, right? But for academics." I said, "Because that makes your school look better because academically, it's a very well-known school and for the majority of people know who those schools are, right?" I said, "So are you going to sit here and tell that kid that they should give up on their dreams and start a plan B? Or are you going to push them to be the best be and to apply to those schools and to challenge themselves?" And she goes, "Well, Jade, it's different." I said, "Well, no, it's not different. It's just a different subject matter." I said,
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with the goal because both of ours are right here. It has to do with how we're going to get there. Maybe it's a different process and maybe it's different for you, but I would really try to encourage you to put yourself out of that one specific process that you deem to be the perfect process for every child and start maybe opening your mind to other ways that people can start to be successful in different areas, you know?
For sure, for sure. I love that so much. I'm in awe of of with how much passion you speak about this, and just how and just hearing you speak about it
Thank
is
you.
it makes my heart warm. I know that like there's so many people watching like our podcast like will definitely be able to resonate with what you're saying, and hopefully people can find inspiration in what you've said about just giving yourself like permission and
Yes,
the freedom
so
to
much.
pursue what you are passionate about.
Definitely. Giving yourself permission is key. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're sort of coming to the end. Again, I want to thank you so much for
This
sitting down with us.
thank
It's
you.
been so wonderful chatting with you all about theater and just all about your experiences. And we're really, really looking forward to all of the music that you release, all of the future projects that you will do in the future. Is there anything that you kind of like to say, leave us out, like play us out on a fun, positive note. Any message?
Honestly, I just want to say thank you. This has been an amazing experience, and just from you benefiting from reaching out to other artists and talking about what they do, it's really awesome for me to get to sit down and talk with you about just everything that's going on and how we can connect. Human connection is such an
Yeah.
important thing. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to get to know you and all of the people that are involved in this project. It's been a really awesome opportunity. So I'm just really grateful.
Yes, and make sure everyone watching to be sure to check out Jade's like her website and her Instagram and all those things. Her YouTube page. I know you just launched like started like posting some more stuff on there
Yes,
recently,
I
so
did.
make sure you guys.
I started YouTube. Yay.
But everyone, make sure you follow Jade. Keep up with all of her projects and everything that she has coming up. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Thank
And that's girl stuff.